Welcome into Inside the Burrow. Robbie Listell here alongside our co-host Mike Birdman, Kevin Fielder, and we're joined by FAU Chief of Staff Matt Smidebush, and no one better to introduce him than the boss man himself, Tom Herman.
This is a guy that, with a master's degree, showed up at my office at Houston and said, "I want to volunteer." I said, "You want to do what?" And he said, I want to be a part of this. I said, all right. Everything Matt touched turned out better. That told me all I needed to know about him, and how you do anything is how you do everything. Everything he did was turned out phenomenally well. He's been extremely loyal. He's had chances to take jobs lots of different places, and he believes in us. He believes in what we're doing, and to have a guy to run kind of the non-football side of the operation that's so trusted is probably a luxury not many head coaches have, too.
Matt, I'm sure Tom said all good things about you, but how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. Appreciate you having me on the show, Robbie, Kevin, Mike. Known Mike for a while now, good friend, so appreciate you guys. It's an honor to be on here with you guys.
You say good friend, Matt. You still haven't been over to my house, man. I've invited you, I think I'm done inviting you.
Hey, man.
I had Coach Jacobs, who I've only known for maybe 6 months now, and the entire staff over a couple weeks ago. I've been trying to get you to come by for almost 2 years now.
Well, Mike, to be fair, he did say good friends, not best friends. So
that's fair. That's fair. But I Matt just big times himself and everybody around him. So,
man, when you invite me over after a game, okay, and it's 11 o'clock at night. It's 11 o'clock at night. I don't know if that counts as an invite, all right? So
you don't want to hang out after. You don't want to hang out after hanging an L in the locker room. No,
we only hang dubs, man.
I love you, man. You're the best.
Matt's on the road over there. He's not on the recruiting trail though. It's a bye week, Matt. What's on deck for you right now?
Yeah, man. I think the last day off we got was in August. So they're few and far between. We're working 100+ hour weeks, and you got to take advantage when you get an opportunity. So. Coach let us off a little earlier this afternoon, so I'm heading to the Keys and try and enjoy it a little bit here for the one day we get off. So,
and who's you're in the passenger seat there? Who do you got driving there?
That's my wife. She's driving. She's been a huge sport. She actually, for people that don't know our story, she's been extremely supportive. She works as an oil and gas geologist in Texas, in Austin. So we still have a home there, and she works there in the office for 2 weeks every month, and then works remote. Her boss over there, the company was very worked with us and was very kind to let her do that. So when she comes over, man, we try to take advantage of it and enjoy some of the South Florida things that I get to experience now. So
what do you prefer? Do you prefer the Texas life or the Florida life?
Man, put me on the spot like that, huh, Bird?
It's not really on the spot, dude. You guys, what do you like more?
Yeah, I think there's positives and negatives to both areas of the country. I think they're both. I've been blessed to live in some really, really great areas. Obviously, going to school at Ole Miss. Mississippi's a great state. Being in Texas for 10 years, I love the Mexican food. I love the people. People are great. People are friendly. There's a lot of outdoor activities. But boy, it's been beautiful living down here in South Florida, man. You guys are lucky. You guys got to grow up down here. It's the beaches. The seafood. Everything has been phenomenal. So I've been blessed to live in some really, really great places and try to experience the best sides of all those spots. So.
I have to say, I've been by your condo, and you live in probably one of the best. I can't think of a better place to actually have planted yourself in Boca Raton. This guy lives walking distance to the ocean.
Lucky man.
You absolutely smashed it, dude, when you got that place, and I couldn't see how you I just can't see how you can't fall in love with, Boca Raton, man. Like
Mike Birdman, realtor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Listen, man. I'm like the number one fan of Boca. I moved here 20 years ago. I haven't left. Like I moved from New Jersey to go to college and just fell in love with the place. And 20 years later, here we are. At 21 years now, actually.
I'll tell you what, the scenery's been great. The food's been great. Being able to walk to the beach. We take our dog Remy, over there before the lifeguard gets up into the stand. And boy, my dog loves to swim in the ocean. It's been truly a blessing. It's been great. I've fallen in love with Boca Raton and the people as well. From you, Mike, to Anthony Barber, to Danny Moore, to Doc Stoller. A lot of people have opened their arms to myself, my family since we've been here, and have been extremely hospitable. So we're very, very lucky to be here and to experience the beauty of Boca. So
all awesome people who you mentioned there, and to be listed in that group is quite the honor. So thank you. Yeah.
I think he just threw you in there, Mike, but
I think he did too.
He was just being nice.
I mean, to put me in line with Anthony Barber, former trustee of FAU, and Dr. Stoller and Danny Moore, NIL guy. That's big.
I mean, it helps that you're on the show, but I do leave sideline passes for you every week. You didn't use yours against Wagner. I don't know why you weren't supporting us, but I do leave a pass.
You know what? I had COVID. Last weekend was the first game that I missed since the stadium opened, probably. I watched it from my couch.
It's a good one. It's a good one to watch on the couch, I guess, Mike.
I didn't know you believed in COVID, Mike.
I don't, but when you get it and everything tastes like coffee with chicory and you can't smell anything.
What a weird comparison. Just coffee with chicory is like a very deep goal.
All of a sudden, here's the backstory. I was in Orlando the weekend before. We went up there with some friends for like the Food and Wine Festival. We stayed at a nice resort, had some nice dinners, everything. Come back Thursday, I'm at work, not feeling awesome, but power through. Friday, I have to leave at lunchtime and come home, and then it was just like all hell broke loose. I thought I was going to die on Saturday. Sunday, I woke up. I went to sleep, and the Jets were winning. I wake up, and they lost to the Broncos at home. I was like, what is going on this weekend, man? COVID, it was just like a perfect storm of just like everything. And but I tested negative, and I went back to work today, and here we are. But that's why I missed the Wagner game, man. I can't believe it. I missed a good showing, but
I'll better be there. Virginia, Texas. Better be there,
including Temple, which is on the road, and San Antonio, which you guys know you're all invited to my birthday party Friday night before. I hope to see you there.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to it, man. Nothing like a good road game, right?
See, this is another one of those examples where, how am I supposed to be at the birthday party the night before the
I invited you.
Hey, it counts as an invite.
You know what?
Right? So,
they're called convenient invites. When you invite somebody and they're not going to show up, but you extend the invite. So,
That is, Matt, Matt, if it makes you feel any better, that is also why he invited me, because he knows I probably won't be in San Antonio, but he just wants to feel good.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right.
I'll be there, Mike. I might come soon.
It's a pro move. It's a pro move.
But hey, kind of getting on track a little bit here before Mike takes us down the dinner menu in San Antonio. You mentioned all the places you've been, all the stops. The last three for you, Matt, they've all, I think three have all featured Herman, Houston, Texas, and now FAU. And he mentioned in that intro how you walked into his office at Houston. And so kind of what made you go in back then and say, this is what I want to do? And here you are, however many years later at the third different stop, still on the team.
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Robbie. It's good. I don't want to get too into my background, but I will say, I'm very blessed to work with Tom. He's an incredible coach, an incredible human. He's an incredible dad. He talks about all the time, if I didn't wake up every morning and become either a better football coach, a better father, or a better husband, then why the hell did I even get up out of bed this morning? So he truly lives by that every day. And back in the Houston days, so I went to Ole Miss, graduated. I played high school baseball, high school golf, high school basketball. I knew I wanted to work in sports somehow, some way. Didn't ever have any connections or anything like that. Didn't grow up with a coach as a dad or start on third base or anything like that. So I kind of had to grind through and kind of mold my own path. And so I basically got a job in sales, in ticket sales right out of the MBA program at Ole Miss. I started out with the Cincinnati Reds for a year after undergrad, went back to school at Ole Miss to get my MBA. Then I went to Texas, was slinging season tickets, which is a really, really important job. Taught me a lot of lessons in business and in sales that I still use to this day. But I wasn't close enough to the game, and I wanted to have a direct impact on my day-to-day responsibilities on wins and losses and developing young men. And so I was trying to network and do everything I could to get closer, to be able to be actually close to the field and be in the game. And so through a mutual family friend, Coach Larry Catuzzi, he was the chairman of the Houston-Harris County Sports Authority at the time when I was working at UT in ticket sales. He was the offensive coordinator for Woody Hayes back in the day at Ohio State. And he's a family friend of kind of my in-laws. And so they, we set up a dinner, and I drove to Houston and had dinner with him on a Friday night. And, he was impressed, and he said, "Hey man, I probably can't get you a job, but I can get you probably on the phone with Coach Herman, who just took the job at Houston." And so I went back to work on Monday at Texas, and sure enough, I got a phone call from Coach Herman. And, I remember him telling me, "What can I do for you, son?" And I was like, first thing I learned in sales, guys, was, "Hey, Coach, I don't know what Coach Catuzzi told you about me, but, I'd love to meet you face-to-face in person." And so he goes, "Hey, I got 15 minutes on my calendar this afternoon, and if you can make it." So I said, "I'll be there." So I jumped in my truck, drove to Houston from Austin, and met with him for more about 45 minutes. And Tom did a great job telling the story in the preview here. And, we kind of hit it off on a lot of things, on life, on physicality, on toughness, on hustle. We bonded over Pete Rose, which RIP, by the way, he's one of my heroes. So that was sad news this week. But anyway, he looked at me and he said, "Hey man, you got an MBA, you're a smart kid. Like, what are you doing sitting in my office?" And I said, "Coach, I want to work for you." I said, I don't know what it is, but I want to work for you. And he told me, "Hey, I don't have a full-time job, but if you want to come in and learn from," at the time, his chief of staff, Fernando Lobo, who's been a huge influence in my life, "if you want to learn from him, show me your value, make a commitment to me, then I'll make a commitment to you." And he stayed true to that word ever since. And that was one of the reasons why I left Texas to come to FAU with him and do this thing together, was because he was always loyal to me, bringing me from Houston to Texas, letting me grow at Texas, keep continuing to give me more and more opportunities and a bigger role in the program. So I love Tom to death, and I owe my career to him and him giving me opportunities. And so it's been awesome working with him, man. And I'm really excited about what we're building here at FAU. So
it's funny, coaches are awesome people. I know, and we share some similarities in like how they've kind of like touched and changed your lives. I had a similar experience with Howard Schnellenberger, and I owe a lot to him. And I feel like coaches have just like this. They do more than just like teach a game, right? They change lives, I think. And I owe a lot of my life to Howard. And I know we talked about that once before, like when we first met, kind of. But I love your story, and I really have a lot of respect for Coach Herman and the type of person he is and how he like develops not just players but humans. It's really like, it's awesome, and most coaches are like that, and I've always been drawn to that. I think they're awesome people that really can change lives more than they know.
Herman's willingness to promote from within and help people grow. I've noticed that in like a short time, and I noticed it back to back over the summer with Ryan Beer and Jeff Love when they both got their promotions. I mean, you can bring outside people in for recruiting positions. I'm sure it's not the hardest thing to do, but when you have people right there who are good at what they do, and good people, I've noticed that with basketball at FAU too. Good people are important qualities with the program. So that's an awesome like story to hear how you got here where you're at now. But you guys come to FAU, and things probably, I imagine at least, might have been a little bit different when you got here from your first stops. But you guys have never made it seem any less than of your previous stops, which I think is important. It's a different program. That's obvious. But was there anything when you guys got here was like, this is something that's different, or we need to change? And now here in year 2, are you seeing progress the way you wanted to see, whether it's facilities, the recruiting department, the NIL, whatever it may be?
Yeah. I think when we first arrived, I think with FAU going into the American Conference, it was very, I thought it was going to be very similar and comparable to the University of Houston in our time there, which it is in many ways, and it's very different in a lot of ways as well. The facilities are the Schmidt complex is absolutely incredible. I mean, to step into that, and I had just gotten done building being the lead contact from football for a $200 million facility at the University of Texas, rebuilding their football complex there, and so to step into an already built facility that's extremely nice was kind of like a sigh of a deep breath that I don't have to get into the construction game again for a little while here. So that was really nice. But yeah, I mean, our practice facility, our practice fields right there connected to the Schmidt facility are great. We do definitely, we need to have an indoor here coming up. And I know, there's been many conversations about that with Brian White and Mary Gardenia and Tom, and, the support that they've given us has been, it's been second to none, to be honest. I mean, we have outstanding leadership from the top down in our administration. It's really nice that it's a great experience for me that I get to work with those guys every day and ladies in our administration, and they've done nothing but give us the things that we need to succeed. But we are, I think, I'm pretty sure we're one.
Oh, we lost you there for a second. Hold on, Matt.
You got me back?
Yep.
Hey, yep.
All right. 14 American Athletic Conference schools have indoors, and so us being in this climate down here in South Florida with the thunderstorms and those things, I think that's definitely next on the docket to kind of look at. And I have full confidence with Brian White's leadership and our board of regents and all of that, and we'll get that done. So in a short time. So
funny story about the indoor thing. Have you? I know the football offices have changed hands, 5 times since Howard left. The original renderings for the stadium, I don't know, they're probably around somewhere, but it was a dome. I don't know if you guys knew that. Howard had a dome design, and they are out there, and Rick probably has them, and maybe he could flash it on the screen here in the edit. But the original idea for Florida Atlantic University Stadium was a dome on campus.
I had no idea about that.
Yep.
That would have definitely been needed. I saw what Rice does with their IPF. They have like the bubble that they have out there.
Yeah, Harvard does that. Harvard does that too, and I only know because I was there in the winter time years ago for a basketball game, and we toured the campus, and I checked out this bubble they put over, like this inflatable thing that they put over their football field in the winter time. It was pretty cool.
But so I've heard you mention probably about.
What's that?
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I think that, it's pretty cool. You can get very creative and find ways to be able to practice indoors. I think that's, all things like that are on the docket for us to look at is creative ways where, we can still practice and not be interrupted when there's lightning and thunderstorms and stuff like that. So, yeah. But man, the stadium is beautiful. FAU Stadium is gorgeous. The fans have been incredible since we've been here. The Schmidt complex, this administration. I mean, it's been amazing, honestly, being in Boca and being a part of this thing with and building it with the guys every day that I get to work with. So it's been great. What do you got, Robbie?
No, I was going to say, I've heard you mention about maybe 10 different things that you're responsible for, and there's probably at least 100. I want to kind of get like an explanation, maybe at least kind of for the people out there, on what the chief of staff does, because Herman made it seem like, you guys, he kind of handles maybe more of the football side of things, but you handle the business side of head coaching.
This dude is. I've been to the football offices during the day while they're working after practice when like the work is happening, and I know Matt's going to break it down, but you're a busy worker, man. Like this guy's booking hotels and flights and everything else, and it's not just for games and stuff, but it's also for like recruiting and everything else in the off season. It's an impressive operation, like what goes into running a football program.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's for real.
You've been around a lot, so you kind of seen the inner workings. I mean, we're very similar to all Division I football programs around the country. I mean, Tom hit the nail on the head in his press conference about we've gone well beyond the Bear Bryant days, right? Where coaches are booking their own travel and doing those things. But what I will say is that I have an incredible staff that works underneath me. Tom said it very, very well. I mean, we work really good together because he can handle the football side of things. When you go back and look at kind of coaches and how they kind of go in their progression, right, and to become a head coach, it's normally because they're a really, really good GA or analyst, and then they get an opportunity to be a position coach. And they're a really good position coach, so they get an opportunity to be a coordinator. And then they're an extremely good coordinator, so they get an opportunity to be a head coach, right? But nowhere along the line there did they really learn how to run a business. And so with my business background, with the trust that Coach and I have built with each other, it's kind of the perfect marriage because, I let him focus on the X's and O's, and then all of the other things that go into a football program, I can kind of make those decisions most of the time knowing what he would have in mind. So I don't have to bother him with those kind of things, and he can focus on the football. And so when you talk about from our creative staff with Clay Williams, who's I think one of the best in the country, we're really, really blessed to have him and keep him. There's guys that keep coming after him all the time, but he wanted to stay and work for Tom, work for me. We're one of the best in our creative department. We've really stepped up our game there since we came on campus. You look at our personnel and recruiting department, like you mentioned earlier, Robbie, with Ryan Beer, with Jeff Love. Jeff's an excellent guy. I mean, he's extremely bright with his football savvy, his football smarts. He's an excellent evaluator of talent, and so is Ryan. And that's why we recognize that with both of those guys, and we're able to promote from within. And so, it's amazing having those guys on our staff. Along on the personnel staff, Shane Marinelli, who you guys are familiar with because he kind of did a similar role as y'all at one point, and his knowledge of South Florida and the high school scene has been a huge help to us on our staff. Matt Wiesner, excellent on-campus recruiter, NFL liaison. So, we have really, really good staff. Other than that, on the operations side, you talk about hotels, you talk about booking the travel, things like that. Honestly, my hands aren't that deep into it anymore because I trust the people underneath me. I did grow up in my career kind of doing that stuff, being really hands-on, going advanced to hotels, getting them ready before the team arrives. I still go on a lot of the site visits back in February when we're picking hotels for the team, making sure that it's appropriate. It's what coach would want. It's got enough space. It's got, hotels can host, 200 people and be able to feed them and have our meeting space that we need. But Julie Reed does an excellent job as our director of football operations. She handles most of that stuff now, and she kind of knows how coach would want it done, how I'd want it done. But, it makes it really easy to oversee a staff and a department and, the operation when you have excellent people that work underneath you. And the last person I want to name too is Regine Hill. We brought her on when we came here. She has worked in a variety of different roles, but she really built the hoop program for us. It's helping our Owls thrive. So she is our director of player development and also She's moved into a role to be Coach Herman's assistant as well, and she's excelled in that. But she's done a great job of being supportive to our student athletes and anything that they may need on a daily basis, but also providing a lot of leadership, support, and curriculum programming for our guys so that they're prepared once they leave the football field, from everything from resume building to career fairs to teaching them how to shake a hand. It's been excellent. And then last but not least, obviously bringing a guy of the Hall of Fame stature like Chris Carter onto our staff was a huge addition. Having his experience, his expertise, working with our wideouts, off the field a little bit, helping them, all of our players, kind of from an NFL mindset, what it takes, because all of our players think they're going to go be NFL guys, right? But 99% of college football players don't get an opportunity to do that. So for him to kind of bring that in and to be able to help our guys on a daily basis has been phenomenal. So like I said, I'm really, really blessed.
And sound really, really busy as well. At least you got, you mentioned how strong your team is alongside you. At least when you first came here, I feel like it was just you and Tom right at the beginning, along with a few other people that were retained. So, right away, I feel like you guys were kind of thrust into building that staff and building out a roster as well. What was that first year like when you guys first got here in terms of building that staff, dealing with FAU's NIL for the first time and recruiting players, both, high school and college, and also first time recruiting in the state of Florida as well? Oh.
Yeah, great question. You got me?
Still lagging a little bit. I can see when it's going to come back because the color starts to come back. I think we're good.
Are we good?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I mean, great question.
The farther south you go, the worse the service gets. So.
Hey, changes in latitude, changes in attitude, right? Come on.
Hey, I like that.
You took a golf cart. You took a golf cart on this route, right? All the way down here.
I drove actually when you got to Florida City and you get to the Blue Wall Road. I made the left there at the light into Card Sound Road around. But 225 miles on a golf cart, world record holder.
We took Cart Sound Road and stopped at
you did Alabama Jacks, yes.
Alabama Jacks. Just had some conch fritters, so we're rocking and rolling, baby.
Love it, man. That's a better drive. Card Sound Road is a better drive for sure.
I agree. Yeah, that's a great question, Robbie. Yeah, it's crazy how fast college football works, especially in the changing of coaches, right? And so the hot seat to the hiring of a new coach and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it was. I mean, it goes all the way back to when I was working at Texas. Still, I mean, I worked 2 years with Coach Sarkisian in 2021 and 2022. That was great experience. In my second season with Coach Sarkisian, I knew Tom was looking to get back into this thing, and so I was there to assist any way I could. And I think that's one thing about my role. That I would recommend for anybody out there that's listening to this podcast, that wants to kind of to maybe do something similar, wants to be around the game but doesn't want to coach, is, man, you got to get to be really, really close with these coaches, right? Really, really close. Know them on a personal level, okay? Because Coach Herman called me and he said, "Hey, I'm looking to get back in this thing. I need to know if you're in it with me or not." And I was his first call. I felt very honored to do that, to be a part of that. And from right then and there, you hit the ground running, from interviews, helping him with his interview process, working with his agent. And so it's a very similar process. Once he was hired here, I think his beautiful wife Michelle and the boys, his sons, we were on the next flight out, and we're here the very next day. And then we basically were locked in his office for 2 weeks while we kind of figured out, hey, how are we gonna put together this staff? You still have holdover coaches from the previous staff, and Tom's making all these decisions with the council from his inner circle and his agent and all these things. But all I was there for is to provide the support that he needed and give feedback. And there's a Rolodex, we all have them, of kind of your people. Whether it's former coaches that have worked on our staffs, or it's people in the industry that you've met over time, or maybe it's tidbits from the agent, names that are given, and you got to analyze all these things in a really, really fast, sped up pace, and figure out how you want to build the staff and put together the not only just the coaching staff, but the support staff. But you got to put things together really, really fast. You got to go through those interviews. And it was a great experience for me to be able to be a part of that with Tom and help him in any way that I could. So that's the answer to the first part of your question is we hit the ground running pretty fast. And I feel we put together the best staff in the country. I mean, I think we have 3 former head coaches on our staff, great experience. Our offensive line coach won a national championship, Ed Warner, with Coach Herman at Ohio State when he was the coordinator. So, I mean, we have some excellent coaches on our staff. But yeah, that's kind of how the first part of that goes. And then in regards to Florida recruiting, it was important as we built the staff to make sure we had coaches on our staff that had experience down here, right? And so, when you have guys like Brandon Harris, and we hired Chris Perkins and Derek Gibson and those type of guys that Coach Herman brought onto his staff. Those are guys that have extensive knowledge down in this area of the country and know all the high school coaches and have all those relationships. And so we were very careful with how we built the staff to make sure we had that expertise and knowledge on it. And then Tom's been recruiting Florida for a long time. So he knows the state of Florida. He knows the coaches as well. He knows his way around. So that helped as well. It's not like his first time, recruiting this state. So I think I answered everything there.
You mentioned a couple names, and one it was a minute ago, but one was Chris Carter. That guy looks like he is having such a good time. Like he looks like he's. He looks like he's like ready to get. First of all, he looks like he's in awesome shape and he could pad up and go play in the NFL still. The guy he's a specimen. But when he's on the sideline, like running up and down, and like I see him in the end zones watching like the routes and trying to help the wideouts and stuff. It's really cool to see like someone at that level, Hall of Famer, NFL, like storied career all his life, like be here at FAU, just like helping and enjoying it is just awesome to see, right? And the other name you mentioned, and you mentioned a lot, Ed Warner is awesome, and shout out to him. I know he goes to Talia's and we see him there, and Jeff Love is awesome. It's great to like get to meet him and become friends with him. But Marinelli, I've known Marinelli since probably before he was even in college. Like I think I met him when he was like in orientation, and I love the fact that he came up through FAU and he is like working with football, because that was always his passion. Like as a student, I remember seeing him at like every single game and to have him so involved and see, like I say, it's like one of our own, like one of our alums is like in the mix and like actually helping develop the football team is out of control. So shout out to Marinelli. I know he watches these. You're doing a great job, dude.
I feel the need to mention that he was once my boss, so I only have to say good things about him. I am held against will to only say good things about Shane.
Hey, don't boost his ego too much, man. Don't do it.
No. We have to shoot it down.
I don't do that. Yeah, I don't do that. Let's be clear. I love Shane.
You really suck at life, but you're great at football.
I love Shane. I do not boost his ego.
No, I'm just kidding. No. I meant everything I said. It's awesome. It's awesome to see like somebody like that who was so into it, into it as a student and an alum, have a spot. And I know he worked with the Owl's Nest and did a bunch of other stuff too. But to see someone like that come up and have a spot with the team is awesome. So shout out to Marinelli too. Good job, Shane.
Shane seems to be a big part of that Tri-County takeover mantra. He's from here.
I think his what's his title? Like high school, like liaison or something, right? Like what is?
Director of High School Relations, but he's heavily involved in every facet of recruiting and personnel. So
and that's a great job for him. And it's all he's doing. He's killing it. So Good.
Hey, and you know, I spoke a little bit about my past and my history, and that's near and dear to my heart, right? Is guys that want to be here. You know, you can coach the skills, right, to work on a support staff in football, but you can't coach the drive and the heart. And Shane shows up every single day, ready to work with love and passion for the Owls, right? And you can't find those guys just off the street. So
no, that's something that becomes like bred in you from like going to the school and being involved as a student and then graduating and then coming back for your master's and going to games and then working there and doing all these things that are involved around the university. It really becomes part of your life. And for me and my wife, you know, Katie, and shout out to her and everything she does with alumni, like it's FAU has really become part of our lives. And to see somebody like that come up through the system and be a part of it and love what he does, and you know that you're getting like the best out of him because he cares so much about, you know, the school, right? So he wants it to be good, you know, and wants to do the right thing. He's not just doing it for that paycheck every other week, which is nice, right? But you know, that you, like you said, you can't like teach that is like something that has to be developed.
Right. And then before we move on real quick, Robbie, I do want to touch on Chris Carter real quick. I mean, that guy's energy is through the roof, and we definitely
incredible, man.
I wish he still had eligibility left because, man, we're hurting at the wideout position right now with some key injuries, and I wish he could suit up because he could still play. I promise you that.
I promise you, dude. Look, he looks like he just retired. Like it's. I mean, I put him up against any of our corners, and I think he'd still school them all.
He's in incredible shape, and I'll give him this. He's you know, the guy doesn't need to work, okay, but he cares about the kids. He cares about the development of these kids and helping them in whatever way he can from his expertise and his knowledge, whether that's on the football field or off the football field. And he genuinely cares. But man, that guy shows up to work every day. And I think we're so unique in the fact that we have a NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver on our staff that wants to help develop these kids. I mean, what a tool in recruiting, what a tool for our roster. I mean, it's incredible. So we're extremely happy and very thankful that Chris is on our staff, and his work ethic is second to none as well.
Matt, I want to follow up with something that you had sort of mentioned you didn't mention it specifically, but you mentioned in February doing the hotel visits just to see what hotels fit. And I think the off season is probably where your job probably comes in handy the most with some of the behind the scenes stuff that happened in the off season. What is the most stressful part of an off season for you and your staff in terms of, I guess, figuring out some logistics and figuring out how to prepare for next season?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kevin. You know, I honestly don't get that stressed anymore, except for you know, for the 4 quarters on Saturdays, for the 12 plus Saturdays in the fall, because, you know, coach says anxiety comes from a lack of preparation, right? And so you know, I know what I'm doing. I know what coach is looking for, and so it's just about putting the work in, right? And so you can talk about putting the work in the off season so that hopefully the results show on the field on Saturdays in the fall. And that's kind of what we do on the support staff as well, is it's the preparation, right? It's all the recruiting, it's all the hotel visits, it's setting up. You know, I'm really proud of bringing in American Airlines on board as our charter airline for FAU football. I mean, I think it's the first time that FAU football's had, you know, one of the major air carriers as their charter partner, and it's been great with American. It gives the kids a feel of first class, right? So we have our captains and our big boys who sit in first class as we go to away games, so they can spread out. And it's the little things like that, I think, that matter about building a program, building the feel of a program to continue to take it to new heights. And so yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when you talk about on the field as well as off the field. It's everything in the spring, in the off season, is about preparing for success in the season. And so it's all about that preparation, that planning, attention to detail. It's all that kind of stuff. And so you want to take care of all that stuff in the off season, so that then it's just the wheel is spinning, right? And you're just, you know, everything's greased up and ready to go in the fall. So in our job, I'll say this, our job in the support staff is to make the coaches' lives easier, to make the players' lives easier, right? And so I don't want them to ever feel anything about travel. Okay, that's always been my motto. Is the only thing that should be different is the way the hotel looks a little bit, and then the stadium you walk into on Saturday. But other than that, okay, it should feel like a home game. There should be no issues with travel. There should be no issues with police escorts, with buses, with the food at the hotel, with space to meet at the hotel. Everything should feel and be exactly the same for the coaches and the players so that they can focus on putting their best foot forward on Saturday. And so that's kind of my motto from the off the field and kind of the operations standpoint. And again, I will say Julie Reed does a great job as our director of football operations, setting all that kind of stuff up from a travel standpoint.
It's that off the field stuff that a lot of people don't realize, and that's what Herman was talking about with the business side of head coaching. A lot goes into it because one bad travel trip and then you're not getting any sleep, you're having back problems, and that stuff will translate. At least I think so. But two recruiting cycles now. What do you got? What do you at least feel like has been working? Is it the beach pitch? Is it coaching, having guys like Chris Carter here on staff? Is it having college football playoff access in the AAC? Is it the facilities? What do you guys feel like has been FAU's at least kind of sort of bread and butter in the recruiting world a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if you can put your point your finger at one particular thing. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I think when you bring a lot of great people together at a great institution and with great leadership, like our administration gives us, you can accomplish special things. And so, we brought in Rock Bellantoni as our defensive coordinator, who's had a ton of success. I mean, our defense has been phenomenal this year, and he's had a ton of recruiting expertise down here. So building off of that, and then some of the other guys I mentioned with Miami ties, with Brandon Harris and Chris Perkins and Derek Gibson, and having those kind of local guys that know the area, who are great recruiters, along with we brought in Jeff Love, and that was an unconventional hire because the guy was coaching at College of the Cumberlands, I think, in Kentucky. At the time as a position coach, right? And it would have been easy. It would have been easy to go grab a director of player personnel from anywhere, that we could have gotten. And we interviewed many, and we looked at a lot of different things. But Jeff had that unique personality and a different viewpoint where a lot of director of player personnels in the country were not former coaches, right? And so they may not see. They're great. They do a great job. But what we loved about Jeff was, A, his personality. He's got a great personality. B, but his football knowledge and his ability to evaluate talent based on his knowledge and seeing the game as a coach, right? And so you bring a guy like that in who's got great vision, great feel for the program, understands how to build a roster, the numbers at each position that we needed. I mean, the numbers when we got in were pretty skewed towards skilled players. We needed way more offensive linemen, defensive linemen to get through practice. So, and that takes a couple cycles to get to the correct amount of number of roster spots you want at each position, which Jeff, did a great job with that. But it's a combination, and then Tom. It all starts at the top with Coach Herman, and what Tom wanted to do is he wanted to recruit locally. Right. And that's why you get the Tri-County takeover. I think that Howard Schnellenberger was very big on that too. Coach Schnellenberger. We have a ton of talent down here in South Florida. We really don't need to look elsewhere, especially from a high school standpoint. I mean, guys are from all over the Power 5 schools, Power 4 schools from all over the country are coming down to South Florida trying to steal these guys, right? And our goal is to be able to compete against the Purdue's, compete against the Syracuses of the world for some of that level of talent down here in South Florida, and get them to stay home, get them to play for a great American Conference team that's coached really well by one of the best head coaches in the country. Let's go win championships down here where your folks, your parents, your family, your girlfriend can come watch you play, or at least provide an opportunity while they're younger. Like you look at a guy like CJ Hurd, who had offers from everywhere in the country, right? And he decides to stay home and has been a huge impact player as a true freshman. So I think it's the combination of Coach Herman's vision of how he likes to recruit, right, with the Tri-County takeover. It was bringing in Jeff Love and then having that knowledge and that expertise from our coaching staff of the area down here and kind of how to recruit it and the right people to talk to and the right relationships to have. So all of those guys have done an excellent job, and it's kind of led us to have 2 really, really good recruiting classes, you know?
Yeah, back you mentioned CJ Hurd. He's been kind of taking over the country, and a little bit at least as a freshman statistically. Yeah, that has been an amazing pickup to have in there as a freshman. But kind of going into the season a little bit. Don't want to. Still a long way to go. But Herman mentioned making some adjustments prior to Wagner, and then we see Kaysen out there, and the offense comes out and it looks really good right off the rip for the first time this season. So it looks like potentially a page has been turned. Kind of what's that vibe heading into the locker room? What was the message as you guys headed into the bye week? And is there a rejuvenated feeling heading into conference play?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're fired up. We're ready to go. The team's confident. We made some small tweaks, not big tweaks, but we made some small tweaks where, coach took a little bit more ownership of the offense, working with our excellent offensive coordinator and Charlie Fry. But kind of mirroring a little bit more of Coach Herman's background and expertise on offense, and then Charlie's system as well is kind of what you saw in the Wagner game. We wanted to start fast. That was an area of emphasis, and we did. So we were really proud of the guys, and I think that the team kind of built off that. We're still learning as a team on kind of how to stick your foot on guys' throat, right, when you go up. We had a little bit of a blip in the second quarter there. I think it's all important for us to remember that was Kaysen Wiseman's kind of first college experience, though, first college snaps. I thought that he really, really settled down nicely in the second half. But yeah, I mean, the team is very confident going into the main part of conference play here, coming off the bye, starting out with North Texas, ESPN2, 7 p.m.
Saturday. Night game, nice night game.
Yeah, big night game on major television. So we're excited about it. The guys are fired up about it. They're excited about kind of the small tweaks we made. I mean, we have the talent. We have the coaching staff. We have a lot of pieces in place. Sometimes all it takes is just, moving, hitting the right button here or there to kind of get everything gelling and working well. And I do want to say, hats off to Coach Bellantoni. I mean, the way the defense showed up in those first 3 games, I mean, they were excellent, and it was good to see the offense really come to light a little bit in the Wagner game. So we're looking for more of that moving forward.
The defense has been really impressive, especially I keep going back to the Michigan State game. I know you and I chopped it up a little bit here and there after that game, but the defense really gave us a chance to win that game at the end. I can't remember another time since 2007 where we played against a team the likes of Michigan State and we had a chance to win in the fourth quarter. I just can't remember that. I know we've been close around halftime, and then they go in the locker room and the other team changes things up and they come out and they roll out. But to be at a spot where we're in the fourth quarter and we have 2 opportunities to put the game away, even though we didn't, I mean, that still says a lot about what the defense was able to do and hold a team like Michigan State at home, like we were on the road, and we had the opportunity to win, and that all really gets put on the defense, right? They held them to that point, and I know we didn't score when we could have, but huge improvement from last year is in that regard for sure. And I think CJ Hurd, if we can keep him around, then hopefully we can. And all my friends out there who donate, this is where the NIL bucks go to, is building off of successes and keeping players here. Oh, you're on the 7 Mile Bridge now, man. That's cool.
It's pretty beautiful. It is. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty.
That on a golf cart. Can you imagine that? Anyway, what I was getting at was that the defense is just a huge improvement from last year, and I think that's something that we could be proud of. And hopefully, going into conference play, they can keep that momentum up and keep a lot of these games winnable.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, the defense has played very, very well. You know, the offense is coming and finding its tune. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies to running a great offense, and you know, with the transfer portal nowadays, and with the high school recruits we brought in, I mean, about 50% of our roster was new, right? Was new guys, new faces from last year, and sometimes it just takes a little bit for everybody to gel. But I do think it's a team game. It's all three facets. We need to continue to improve and get better in all three. But it has been a nice sign, and it's been good to see for sure how well the defense has played. And I think you know, it's a combination of the coaching and Coach Bellantoni's leadership, his great defensive staff. You want to talk about we you know, promoted Michael Sabini, who was an analyst last year, played at Ohio State for a dear friend of mine, Coach Chris Ash. As a safety, and that was when Coach Herman was the offensive coordinator at Ohio State as well. So they have a lot of background and history there. We brought him on as an analyst last year. You know, kind of brought him up to the big leagues this year as a position coach, and he's done an excellent job so far. We brought in a ton of great talent on that D line, man, in the offseason. Props to Jeff Love and that crew. You know, and our personnel department. You know, we've taken advantage of some really, really cool opportunities to bring, you know, a guy like Bryce Langston from LSU back home to Florida, right, and play with us. You know, you go find a guy at Jackson State, you know, in Devontae Davis. I mean, these are guys that are playing, you know, big time ball for us, helping us out tremendously on that side of the ball. And then, you know, you can't overlook the guys that have been here as well, that have really stepped up and believed in Coach Herman and this program, and guys like Anthony Wheeler and Chris Jones and those guys who, man, it's been fun to watch those guys so far. So it's been good. I you know, the defense has played, you know, phenomenally well so far to start the season for the most part. And you know, all three facets, though, need to all be clicking for us to do the things we want to do this year, which we got a great opportunity with North Texas and going into conference play, really.
A great opportunity indeed, North Texas. USF at home as well. That'll be a big one for the fan base. I will say that my 4 years as a student, the most packed it ever got was for UCF. It was like almost every seat in there was packed. So I'm imagining it's going to be the same for USF. That'll be one the fans are looking forward to.
It's going to be crazy, and I heard we're busting out something special that night too. But
Robbie, I want to ask.
Robbie, not going to blow any surprises.
Robbie, I want to ask about those rivalry games because, you know, you guys played FIU earlier this year. Shula Bowl is back in business, and I think every FIU fan is excited about that game and keeping that trophy in Boca for another 20 years. If you ask me,
I hate FIU. It was.
But you know, Matt, when you look, I guess, across college football and some of these rivalries dying, right? You look at the Apple Cup and the Bedlam and all these that are, I guess, slowly dying or being played less. How important is it for you guys as a staff to have these rivalry games against USF and you know, the more established one against FIU that's been going on for a few years and play those games every year?
It's extremely important. I mean, I think it's important for not only our staff and you know, our kids, but for college football as a whole, right? I mean, that's what, you know, growing up watching the backyard brawl, right? And then they stopped playing that for a little while between West Virginia and Pitt, and watching the Apple Cup and watching the big game between Michigan and Ohio State, and, you know, watching the Iron Bowl and these amazing rivalries. I was blessed to be a part of, you know, the Texas OU and the Red River Shootout, you know, for so long there at Texas. I mean, what an experience these rivalry games are for the fans, right? And for the whole college football experience in this country. So those games are extremely important. Definitely want to make sure that we keep playing those games. But yeah, I mean, you know, when it comes down to at the end of the day, on our team, yeah, you know, our guys are going to get a little bit juiced up more for the FIUs and the USFs of the world because they're in-state rivals. You know, lots of times our kids went to high school and played high school ball or against a lot of the guys on their roster as well. I mean, they're right down the road, so you recruit against a lot of the same guys. You know, you have kind of those. You want to win those ones, right? I mean, those ones mean a lot because of that, right? But at the end of the day, it counts as a conference game. and we want to win all the conference games. We want to win everything. We want to go to the American Conference Championship. That's our goal at the beginning of the season, and it's still our goal now. And so, yeah, rivalry games are important. You get a little bit more greased up for those, and they may mean a little bit more. There may be a trophy like the Shula Bowl and things like that. Definitely want to win the state, control the state for the games that for the teams you compete against in your own state. But yeah, I mean, college football rivalries. There's nothing better, man. It's giving me goosebumps just thinking about some of those games you mentioned, and being able to be a part of it on the field is incredible.
So after going to USF last year and dropping 54 on them.
I thought it was 56.
56 on them, and then them coming here for our homecoming this year. How do you feel about that, man? I know there was some
onside kicks.
I know there was a lot, and I know this for a fact. There was a lot of smack talk going back and forth between the coaching staffs, right? What do you got for us with that game, Matt? Anything? What do you got cooking, man?
Oh, he picked
Excited
the
to get on the field and
yeah, I picked a good time to bad connection, not bad.
That's what I was saying. I didn't want to cut him off.
Come on.
No, I'm excited to get out on the field and watch the teams compete. Right? I mean, it's fun, right? A little in-state rivalry action.
I love it. There's nothing better.
I have the utmost respect for that team and their staff, and I'm looking forward to settling everything on the field when they come down.
Okay, I like that.
The fans love onside kicks. I'll just leave it at that.
More from you, but okay, we'll leave it at that.
I will say this.
You tell me offline.
Let me say this: there is way more to every story than what gets reported. Okay, so that's what I will say to that.
Of course.
But
it's good though. It adds to it. I'm saying it's good for the game. It adds to like how much more the win or the the loss means either way. So I like it. I like that kind of. I think the more we'll call it smack talking because I don't want to get yelled at. But I think the more smack talking and the more trash talk online and everything else, the better for the programs. It builds emotion for the games and with the fan bases and stuff. It's awesome. I love watching. Me, I'm on Twitter. I let it fly sometimes, especially with my buddies from Memphis, and it just makes
that's an understatement.
Definitely a little bit too much of an understatement. But
oh, come on,
Matt. You mentioned that you were at Houston in the American, and now you're in the American now with this, I guess, newer look American. I still don't know if it's like completely new because there's still a few mainstays. But what's the biggest difference you've seen between those old American conferences with Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati and all those teams to, I guess, nowadays where it's controlled, it seems like by Tulane and UTSA and some of these other schools?
Yeah, I mean, I think the newer schools that have fit into the conference have done a great job kind of blending in, and I mean the American Conference led by our conference commissioner Pernetti. I mean he's done a great job bringing these schools in that were ripe, right, to compete at a little bit of at the next level, the next step. I think that when you watch American Conference schools compete against some of the other conferences, it's shown that we belong here, right? And I think that it's gelled perfectly. You do have some of these older programs in Tulane and in Memphis and some of these schools that have been in the conference for a little bit longer than us. You've also seen some departures from the Houstons and a couple of those that stepped up their game. UCF was in our conference for a long time. So I think you're going to continue to see teams, schools moving conferences in this crazy world of college football that we're all witnessing and living. But we're really, really happy being in the American Conference. It's I think it's one of the best in the country. And the level of competition, I think, shows that on the field on Saturdays.
The new look AAC has definitely been it's been interesting because there's just there hasn't been any like regionalized rivalries yet, but it seems like some of these teams are starting to develop a little bit of hate. So I like that a little bit. I like when the animosity gets.
I love it, man. That's what it's all about, man. I grew up in New Jersey, Yankee fan. Like, I hate the color red, like because of it. You know, like it's just how it is. It makes the games mean something, right? If it was just like, oh, we won, we lost. No, we want to kick the crap out of USF. We want to kick the crap out of FIU. We want to be the king of Florida, right? Like, and that's it. Like, it's turf, and it means something. And if there's no emotion or whatever behind the game for the fans, it's like, you want that. I don't know. I think
Coach Mac Brown. I mean, there's definitely something to that. Coach Mac Brown back in the, in the days when Coach Herman was a GA for Texas back in those days, he used to have a sticker on the back of the helmet for a dot for every Texas school that they would win.
I love that. The notch in the belt.
Right, and it was, he would talk about you can't win the conference, you can't win the national championship without first winning the state of Texas, and so you're right. Those games do mean a little bit more, especially to the fans. The camaraderie, all of the things that go into it. I mean, it's those games are special, man. And hey, you want to go win them all. At the end of the day, it's just a conference game, but there is a little bit something more to those in-state rivalries for sure. I
mean, Howard Schnellenberger really like took that to the next level. Like when and this tradition stopped, unfortunately, because like the fire department and the people who were like really care about the gopher tortoises and everything else on campus, we used to actually like do real bonfires before the season started, and every year we used to burn an effigy, like a sculpture of the other team's mascots. Do you remember that, Kevin? So Howard, this funny story. It started in 2008. After we won the New Orleans Bowl, Howard Schnellenberger called me like, Michael, we did a great bonfire for the bowl game last year. Can we do one to start the season off? Get the students excited. I was like, yeah. Who are we playing? We're playing Texas. I want you to build a cow and burn it in the bonfire. I was like, oh my God, okay. It was a mistake. All right. But so I'm going to try and look this up real quick.
I remember when they did it against UCF. I think because they did UCF as the homecoming game.
So I was gone by that point.
Probably my sophomore year. They did it for the UCF game, and all the UCF fans on Twitter were like, "Why are they burning nitro?"
Okay, here's the one for Nebraska. And me and my fraternity brothers. I'm going to put this. I'm just going to hold it up so that you guys can see it. That's Howard and where's my camera? There we go. That's Howard on the right and Brogan, our former president, on the left. And we built a giant N for Nebraska, and we burnt it in the bonfire. Right? It made ESPN. Like ESPN put that on, and apparently in Nebraska there were riots. And it was a mistake.
Every opposing fan base did not like it when you would burn the mascot.
But we did it for like 10 years. We burnt the North Texas thing, the bird, the mean green. We burnt the UAB dragon. We burnt another. We played Texas twice, I think. We burnt it twice, maybe once. I don't remember. We burnt the big hilltopper. But I feel like those kinds of
Robbie, aren't you supposed to keep us on track here?
I just let it go. I just let it go. Now we're burning Big Red.
We did. You could look these pictures up. They're all there. There's YouTube videos of it. But I mean, like, it's stuff like that. Like when we played FIU last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, the students came up here the night before and like wrapped our Owsley mascot in an FIU flag, and people were like taking pictures and putting it online. I was like, that is awesome. I was like, they care enough to like drive all the way up here from Miami to deface our mascot. That means we mean something, right? So like, look what happened. Look what happened to that. That's what happens when you do those type of things. It never works out. FIU's trash, and you know what? No, how many times? I don't even know what the record is anymore. If we had to keep notches on how many times we beat FIU in football, we would run out of a belt to put them on. So Yeah.
I think this is a great segue. What you're talking about, though, is you're talking about the fire inside the fans, right? And
it's
the passion
important.
for college football, right? And I think that those are the people probably listening to this podcast.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Diehard FAU fans, right?
Yep.
And so those are the people. That's a great segue into talking about NIL a little bit, right?
Sure, yeah. Lead the charge, Matt. We need offensive linemen, and we know that. How are we going to get them?
We need to support our student athletes, and we need to be able to attract the best athletes that come to Boca Raton, which sells itself, right? And so, if lots of times, if the value of NIL that they could make once they become a student here is about on par as some of the other schools we're competing against, the shrimp and the bikinis and the beach and all those things and the palm trees and all that stuff starts mattering, right? And so, you got to be on a level playing field. And so, with that said, we have a great collective in NIL in Paradise with Austin Elrod, who that's a great group, right? That came
Griffin,
and,
yep.
Yeah, with Griffin Kinney and all those guys. So I mean, they do the Link U is the parent company to that, and they do collectives for some of the other big time programs. University of Houston being one, Boise State being another. So they're a very, very well respected group. You can definitely, I've had a great partnership with Griffin and Austin and working with those guys. It's a great place where you can go take your money to go support our student athletes, which is the number one thing in our program right now is player acquisition, player retention. And so if you care about the Owls, if you want to see success on the field, we need to continue to improve in that NIL space. And so, NIL in Paradise, Griffin, those guys do a great job, especially if you're a business, if you want to look at how they can help generate more revenue for your small business or your company. They can do a great job with creative ways to do that using, the help from guys on our roster. But also, we do have a group in Danny Moore and Anthony Barber, and they started a fund as well. So for the guys that know those guys and want to give to that group, those guys they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They really are, to help this program. And I know that they're not taking anything, zero. I mean, all of the money is going straight to the kids from very, very trustworthy individuals. And I hope we reach a point in college football where we bring everything in house, but we're not there yet. And we need to be on a level playing field with the schools that we're competing against on a daily basis for those top tier talent. And the way you do that is by supporting NIL. So whether it's NIL in Paradise or whether it's Danny Moore and Anthony Barber's fund, we need all the money we can get, guys. So please, 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 if you want to see your Owls do well, please contribute to NIL. That'll be the number one contributing factor to our success, other than our outstanding coaching staff and
shrimp and bikinis.
So
you heard the man.
Shrimp and beaches.
You said bikinis, but okay.
Matt, thank you so much for taking some time to hop on with us today. I know you're at this point, you're probably almost to your final destination.
Getting close, man. Getting close. Megan, we apologize for keeping your husband from you while you're driving.
Hey, it's been great, man. You're making the trip go by real fast. So this
good.
There
awesome.
You go.
That's what we're good at.
Anything for the Owls.
Yeah, there you go.
Put Megan on. Let her say hi. Come on. There she is. Hey, good to see you.
Matt, family, thank you so much again for hopping on Inside the Borough. We appreciate it. Owls Nation appreciates it. And we'll see you guys when you get back. North Texas week.
Big win coming up. North Texas is going down. We know it.
Yep. Until next time, for Matt, for Mike, and Kevin, I'm Robbie. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Go Owls.